Hi, my name is David Loke. I am a faculty member of the Yongzhou Conservatory of Music back in Singapore, and I'm an active composer, performer. Strings of Sorrow, this project really is something that's quite unique and I think never has been done on film before. We are taking something that people are quite familiar with, the string quartet, and we are looking at how these four very different individuals come together to make music. And we have four different individuals with four very different personalities, and they have four very different musical styles. You have Lam Xiyu, the first violinist, who is really serious about her music and her passion, and trying to live up to her mother's legacy. We have Afei, the second violinist, who's driven by what music that's the music that's popular right now out there and how to make a living playing music, as well as his affection for Lam Xiyu. We have Qingyi, the violist, who's so happy all of the time. You know, she's really been a fortunate girl and she just loves playing music, and you know, just really the most joyful character of, I think, the whole four. And of course we have Feng, who is the most serious, dedicated musician. He's like slightly jaded, you know. He's been there through the entire he's been in the industry for a very, very long time, and he's the strongest and the best musician of the bunch. And so to really put all these four musicians, very different musicians at different points of their life, together, you know, it was tough. It was tough to have them form like this group dynamic, and what kind of music, what kind of musical score would really one serve the plot, but to also reflect what these four characters were going through. In this film, Strings of Sorrow, we find that the musicians are playing actually really three different kinds of music. One, you have the gig repertoire, which is something that every single classical musician would be familiar with. It's the repertoire that you play when you're paid to play it. You have the Canon in D, the Queen of Sheba, you have, you know, all of these are really, really great pieces. It's just that people are requesting for these pieces time and time and time again. So you often see Feng, who's really upset and not very happy to play these pieces because, you know, he's been forced to play them so many times that it's kind of lost all joy for him. Whereas Fei is, you know, he's like, hey man, we've got to do whatever it takes to survive. The other kind of music that we see the quartet play is the more tonal, romantic kind of music that really demonstrates what they're really feeling inside. You know, Strings of Sorrow, we really wanted to put forward the sorrowful element in the music and in the playing, so that, you know, when the quartet is playing, you actually feel the sorrow that they feel inside. So that was the musical goal. And the third one, which is actually the most interesting, would be the atonal, contemporary, post 20th century vibe that we were really going for, inspired by Stockhausen, John Cage. To me, that I don't think that's ever really been explored in a film before. You know, in the classical music world, that's definitely something that has been explored in concert halls, but in a fictional narrative, to explore that soundscape and what it means to be a classical musician who's juggling all these different kinds of repertoire. Yeah, I would say that this contemporary improv, this desire for the quartet to do something that, just, you know, that like pushing the boundaries and like what's next in terms of music instead of just relying on the traditional repertoire. Yeah, it was a really brave choice by the creative team, and I think it really sets it apart. Yeah. Well, the most challenging parts were, well, first of all, I really have to give credit to the team. You know, Carl, Oliver, Fernando, Isaac. They really had a really good script, and they had a fantastic idea, which made writing the music really, really enjoyable for me. And it really was a joy to write everything start to finish. Credit also to Aki, who supplied, I think, about 60% or 50% of the background music cues. He's really, really incredible. But I would say one of the most challenging things would have been, because they filmed the quartet playing first, And then after that, they asked me to like, all right, well, we have this sequence of things and we're gonna really be willing to re-edit it, but we wanna compose the music that you see, that you feel inspired by what they're playing, and then compose. And so what we would have to do, me and Monique would have to look at what they're playing and then try and find something that, okay, I think this really fits, and then kind of go along with it. The other challenging parts were also trying to find what was like the core musical identity of the film. You know, you have the sorrowful part, you have the atonal part, and you have the romantic parts of the string quartet, not to mention like all the background music cues that really have to put you in the mood. So balancing all of this was a challenge, but I think we all learned a lot from it, and it was fun. Most importantly, it was fun. But yeah, definitely having to overdub the string quartet parts and stuff. It was fun. I had a good time doing it. It was hard though. The different styles of music that we try to portray in the film. One of them is the Baroque style that Lam Si-yu always plays, and it's one of the standard audition pieces that anyone would have to master in order to get a job in a professional orchestra. Yeah, that would be the Bach, and then we have Afei, who's always trying to show off, his virtuosity, because playing fast notes for him is really, the thing that gets him going. So we have with all the 炫技, the showing off part. And then we have Feng, who's always been driven by what is at the forefront of musical expansion, really inspired by, I wouldn't say the second Viennese school, but something even further than that, the contemporary American, late 20th century, especially his duet with Lam Si. We see that, that really kind of atonal setting that just is supposed to rub you the wrong way. It's supposed to go against tonality so that you actually feel the struggle and you feel the conflict in between the melody note and the harmony. So that you really feel like the kind of anguish that he's feeling, almost like kind of a tortured soul. Yeah. Having studied in America, I've studied music in America for about 8 years, and to me it's really intriguing actually seeing how many Asian people are taking up classical music. You see so many people in America from Korea, from Japan, from mainland China, Taiwan, Singapore. Not that many from Singapore actually, but and so for us it's actually quite refreshing and quite accurate to see like not just people who are in a school program, but actually people who are finished with their university life and who are trying to struggle and make a living playing music, and not just any music but classical music especially. So I think that's a struggle that almost every single musician would be able to identify with. There's also the unique musical identities of this film, which is, I don't think there's ever quite been a film which really is so ambitious as to have that many genres, to put in the post-tonal, contemporary modern American style into a fictional film. And we have the dramatic romantic music that we know from the cinema that we've also tried to incorporate into this film, as well as the standard classical music repertoire. It's really a work of art, I would have to say, and especially knowing and we really have to just respect the vision that the creative team put in. Yeah, I would say that's definitely worth the watch.